With the rise of Russia and the regained confidence of the Imperial Russian dynasty, revenge was taken thoroughly. Revenge on the humiliation they underwent under the various Muslim khanates. Not that it was justified, but the Russians felt justified. The Russian conquest of the Caucasus was followed with large parts of the Muslim population being relocated and the land given to Cossacks or Russians. With the age of nationalism, the Imperial Russian propaganda machine went full force, bringing various minorities into the belief that they were in some kind of Dark Age subjugation. This took dangerous turns when the question arose how, for instance, Muslim Serbs were to be explained. Hence, it was just assumed that they all must either be forcefully converted people or collaborating nobilities that converted to keep their powers. Yet the Ottomans did surprisingly well in keeping their territory together until the Russian-Ottoman War of the 1870s. This brings up the question, why? We know for a fact from the Islamic Enlightenment by Christopher the Balaik or from the Arabs of the Ottoman Empire by Bruce Masters that the Ottoman state was rapidly transforming all layers of society, including the army. So what made the Ottomans lose so miserably? To answer the question is money. The massive reform period of the Ottomans required a lot of money that they were getting from European investors. However, in May 1873, the stock market in Vienna crashed, resulting in widespread panic. London and New York sidestepped the initial blowback, but the financial markets collapsed all across the continent. Essentially, money dried up overnight for the Ottomans. The Ottomans had to default twice in October 1875 and April 1876. To make matters worse, in fall 1873, a lengthy drought hit Rum and Bosnia, aka Bulgaria and Bosnia. More than 100,000 people perished in winter 1873, much more malnutritioned. 40% of all livestock disappeared, leading to a revolt in Bosnia in 1875. Orthodox Christians used this opportunity to attack Muslim villages. Mobs formed to attack Muslims, killing 1,000 people. Ottoman irregular troops were quickly dispatched, but responded very viciously. All of this is happening right before the Russians declare war in 1878. The result of this war I covered in this video of mine, which I'm not going to get into, but according to the author Douglas A. Hovward, 250,000 people died. 500,000 Muslims were expelled into Ottoman lands, driven out by the Russian army. Bosnia's Muslim population dropped by more than 30%. Serbia's Muslim population dropped by more than 7%. As if the humanitarian crisis was not enough, the Treaty of San Stefano forced the Ottomans into a £250 million debt, more than 10 times the annual Ottoman treasury revenue at the time of 1873 before the stock market crash. The author notes with respect to the discussion in San Stefano, and the Greeks and Armenian patriarchies all supported territorial claims with fabricated population figures. Frustrated Ottoman officials decided a census, a full count of Ottoman citizens on a case-by-case basis, which served both as a defense against additional diplomatic aggression and to facilitate taxation and conscription. The records listed the numbers of persons in each household, the name, the birthplace, and physical description of household heads, and details of their eligibility for military service. The reforms added of 1856 had mandated equality of Muslims and non-Muslims, and therefore equal liability for military service. But in practice, non-Muslims continued to pay for an exemption. Women were counted for the first time. Identity documents were issued. The total count, which took years to complete, came to about 17.4 million people, of whom about 3/4 were Muslim. It should be noted that nomadic people were ignored in the census. In Kosovo and the Prizren Sanjak, barely any women were counted, while the population counts in Baghdad, Basra and Mosul were never finished. This also explains where the claim of Orthodox nationalists of actually the number of Armenians Greeks were much higher comes from. I have to point out that the lack of counting of females did not occur in Armenian or Greek dominated areas. Either way, the estimated total population was around 20.4 million people.